Gentlemen, thank you so much. So, I'm curious to know the transformation happening in the aftermarket. Like, for example, it undergoes transformation driven by economical, technological changes, and even from the regulations point of view. So, how are you responding globally with a clear sense of purpose? That's my first question. So, Olaf, you can just take it and then probably wherever necessary you can add value.
I mean, SKF is since 1907, so more than 100 or almost 120 years in the bearing business. This is the core, right? And transformational changes, either driven by legislation or technology, is nothing new for us. So that means this is a constant evolution over the decades we are in this business. And our brand, our core stands really to being the leader in our categories if it comes to technology and delivering benefits to our customers. So just to say a word, this is nothing new for us to drive also the challenge. And this is what our customers in OE and in aftermarket are expecting from us. Currently, of course, we have the huge transformation of the drivetrain from internal combustion engine to hybrids and to fully electric vehicles. And we benefit, of course, from our long-lasting technological drive that our products are agnostic, drivetrain agnostic. What does it mean? So we basically, including hydrogen, yeah. So a bearing or a rolling wheel or a rolling gear or anything what needs a bearing and other products are not related to any drivetrain. We have the technologies to support our customers to have the right solution to basically solve their problems. It's all about customer benefits, right? And specifically in the aftermarket, and El will give you some more insights on the OE business, we are supporting our customers with information, with technology, with training, and of course the right products to serve their final customers, which is the workshop, to make a proper repair, to keep the vehicles rolling, not only on Indian streets, but also on global streets.
Great, interesting. You gave an insight about all the fuel agnostic things, but whereas the powertrain can be even electric, where the friction is completely minimized, or probably the moving parts are less. So, do you see that as how do you address those challenges? Because there is going to be a drop in.
I mentioned already, we want to solve the pain points of our customers. And rolling resistance was always something where we really focused our energy, because also with internal combustion engine, it's better if a lower rolling resistance than a higher one. I mean, this is obvious. For battery electric vehicles, the challenge is even higher because it's all about how far can I drive with my battery pack. So what is the distance I can get? And here it is about equipping the car with SKF bearings, and again here El will give you some more insights. We can last up to 20 kilometers more driving distance with the same battery pack. So it's a clear customer benefit using our brands and our products than from any other ones.
You want to add something?
Right. So I'll come from the economical point of view. India is the market where we see a growth in more of a premium products, and the second driver which is happening is on the bridging the gap on regulations between developed countries and developing nations, and the third one is more on bringing down the logistics cost and bringing more and more TCO, right? So when we start from premium vehicles that include some of the electrification, the requirements are completely different, where you talked about low friction, more compact design, where OEMs are redesigning their powertrain for lower friction, lower mechanical loss, so that they can able to meet the premium requirements of NVH and also the efficiency, right? These two will also help reduce the CO2 and also complement for the CAFE norms, right? All these two will also help bring down the TCO because of the increased reliability, efficiency, and also the component life. So which will bring the TCO for the end customer. So that's another thing which is happening on the market.
Technology is changing faster. Yeah, I'm coming there. I'm coming to you. Technology is changing faster than technicians who are being trained, especially like areas like EVs, uh, s- remote diagnostics, etc. Updating workshops and retaining people, in the broader area of things are very challenging. So, from the global level, how do you see this happen, and then how do you support? And from the India point of view, how are you addressing this skilling gap? So that will enable them to keep abreast of what is happening in the world.
I will start and Gaurav will
Yeah.
continue. On a global scale, I think the requirements from, especially from our final customers, so the installers, the workshops, are pretty much the same. Of course, in different levels, but if we bring it really to a kind of core, the requirements are the complex car park is getting even more complex because you don't get the variety only of more models in the market, which makes it already quite challenging. Now you have 3 different or 4 different drivetrains. You have ICE engines, gasoline and diesel. You have hybrids where the electricity comes on top to an ICE engine, and you have BEV, the battery electric vehicles, where you have the challenge of the complete new drivetrain, fully electric. So our customers, our final customers, are expecting from their prime suppliers, from the brand, not only a spare part, because this is easy, and also our differentiator. They expect what kind of data do I need to make a repair? What kind of tools do I need to make a repair? Because a screwdriver and a hammer is not enough anymore. You need special tools. We provide training videos, tutorials, offsite or online and offline. So physical trainings, but also online trainings, because it's much easier. You can access everywhere you are, and you can basically accumulate your knowledge you need to make a proper repair. So this is the full package what we are aiming to offer to our customers on a global base.
Gaurav, from India point of view,
And Murli, India is no different. In fact, initially when you spoke about trends, I believe this is a trend which will shape up the industry maybe 10 years from now, when EVs, hybrids really take a bulk of the share in the market. Today, the market share for EVs is much smaller. So it's a problem that will become a lot bigger 10 years from now. And that's where I see that industry players who have the wherewithal to educate mechanics on the road on what are the tools that they need to make that repair and what is the knowledge that they need to make that repair, they have it with them. So that's something that the automotive aftermarket industry is right now designing the process of what is it that the mechanic needs in order to make that repair. So it's something that you will see evolving in the coming years.
see, with the software-defined vehicle evolving, I think it is partially available. I don't know whether there are levels over there, but it's there, and it is more pronounced for even trucks. That's what the CV makers say. Since SKF caters to wherever there is a need to reduce friction in the automotive segment, do you see an opportunity for remote diagnostics or prognostics for the products that you supply? Because today's customer wanted everything more for less and then right now. So, how do you address? What are the challenges also you see?
The keyword is a software-defined vehicle, and for us, it's again. So I referred to El's comment about total cost of ownership, especially in the fleet business for trucks. And for trucks, we have a product, a service basically, which is more than a product, called Tracks. So not trucks, which is basically a sensor which is equipped at every wheel on every axle on each side to basically identify what is the condition of my system where I'm wheeling on. And it's all about avoiding wheel offs on trucks which ends often fatal. Because you can imagine if you have a double twin wheel which gets off the hub on a highway and hits a passenger car, the consequences are very often fatal for the passengers of the and this happens in the markets more often than you think. So we developed with this service a solution again to inform the driver or basically the fleet management. You might have a problem on this wheel because vibration starts to become bigger and the sensor is identifying this. So before you have really an issue, you get a pre-warning. Either you have a flat tire, or you have a worn out bearing, or you have a loose nut from a bad maintenance. I mean, there are several cases, overheat because it was too tightly torqued. So there are several, let's say, root causes which can cause finally a wheel off, which you definitely want to avoid. And this is an area where we are going forward and delivering the solutions to basically, again, reduce total cost of ownership, create sustainability, but also, of course, increase the safety on our roads.
There is a concept called no fit and forget, lifetime thing, or in the bearings especially. So, in this scenario, do you see a drop in the aftermarket business because the replacement cycle is become negligible?
Well, yes and no. I would say players who are operating at that level of specification where you need to still worry about replacing the parts, it's probably for them that it becomes a bigger concern. Now, we, for example, introduced maintenance-free bearing solutions to the automotive industry, and well, did that hit us? No, in fact, that became our USP. So I would say that at the quality point and the technology point that we operate, it's actually our advantage.
But my question is, would you see a drop in the aftermarket sales because the lifetime of the product is increasing?
Yes, so in the end of the lifetime, total cost of ownership is again the topic. If you have a residual value of maybe $1,000 for a car, you don't want to invest into a repair solution which costs you $500. So this is also our job, and this is what Gaurav meant. If you install the right specification, the right bearing right from the beginning once, you basically enjoy this to the end of the lifetime. There's a saying, if you buy cheap, you buy twice, because basically you buy the cheap one, you are not satisfied with the performance, and normally then you are frustrated, and then you buy the better one, so you basically didn't have a cheap solution, you had basically a more costly solution, and this is what we also want to educate. Total cost of ownership, not the let's say the spare price part itself is determine your total cost of ownership.
I have a question which has two parts. The supply chain management is a crucial thing in aftermarket, and with the SKUs, number of SKUs ever increasing, how do you manage to reach those parts at the shortest possible time? Are you using any blockchain technology, or do you seek help from AI to support this? If you can throw, Gaurav, you can also talk from India point of view. You can also
Come from a global perspective, and Gaurav can continue and L. So blockchain technology is more about traceability, and this is about what Gaurav mentioned about avoiding copycats. But AI is, of course, the latest hype, but which has also a very good meaning in the forecasting. Yeah? So in the past, we were only related on the history, which is good if a vehicle, I would say, model is ramping up, because then you can make a good prognosis about the future. AI helps us also with other data points. How is the development over time? Because if you have an end of production in OE, you have basically reached the peak of registration, and then you have a certain decline of at least of the VIOs, which is the vehicle in operation. Even if the the demand might increase because you get the older car park. Yeah, so and these data points are modern AI forecasting tools are taking on consideration and help us to improve availability by reducing net working capital at the same time.
The predictive lead point, right?
Yes.
Please.
The other part is we don't make stock once we receive the orders, right? So we constantly therefore strive to maintain a certain inventory close to our customers. So of course, a bit of AI and a bit of demand modeling helps us to understand where we need to carry more stock. And then of course, irrespective of how the orders flow, we try to maintain a stable stock at most of our warehouses. So that also helps us to make sure that our time to deliver to our customers is maintained at a certain bare minimum.
Yeah.
Beyond AI and blockchain, we are also looking at the basics of supply chain, wherein we are trying to reduce the supply response time. We are also getting into dual sourcing. We are looking into localization, and we are also looking in more of a modular design in our products. So, which will help to reduce the part counts and also the closer to the inventory. We are looking in vendor managed inventory as well, so that the availability is available for us. As Olaf was talking about, we are also heavily investing on our SNOP process. As you know, India is very, very unpredictable market, right? So month to month, where we see a variation on the demand. So where we are also investing on the SNOP, how do we manage this demand variation, and where we need to keep the inventory. It is a finished products inventory or it's a component inventory. So we are working on those response times to optimize the whole supply chain cost.
Closer to the customer. Last question I have, I don't know whether it is relevant, but the remanufacturing is talked about, which is a pet subject for me, but somehow in India it is not happening at the scale that is expected. So, what is your thought on this? Are you already in the remanufacturing industry? If so, would you be extending that to other markets, etc.?
Maybe you start and you.
For India, I don't think we are ready to start remanufacturing the core products that we sell. The model is actually sustainable, especially for larger bearings and larger products. But the bulk of our market today, especially in automotive, is still two-wheelers, right? So it does not at this point in time make a commercial sense to, for example, remanufacture a two-wheeler bearing. So the immediate answer is no. We are not there yet.
But I'll just answer this question. Remanufacturing of automobile components is going to be much expensive and not sustainability one. You may see that remanufacturing is going to reduce the carbon footprint, but in fact remanufacturing of automobile components or bearing is going to increase the CO2 because of the longer supply chain to bring the products to a center. So it is not going to make any sense, right? So,
Yes.
but larger than this, what we need to understand as a company like SKF, if you look at the entire full value chain, starting from sourcing of materials and manufacturing and the use case and disposal, starting from the way we source and design. So we are a very responsible company. So we design products which is very much recycled at the end of the life, and also we source material from the source where it is reduced energy usage, and also we use more of a scrap steel, like electric arc furnace with a scrap steel. In a way, it's a very much kind of a green steel. So 40% of our steel sourcing is coming from there. On the manufacturing, we are carbon neutral manufacturing. Almost all the plants are running 90% renewables, and we are water positive, and we are also looking in other aspects of sustainability. By 2030, we will be a carbon neutral manufacturing plants in India. That's on this. On use case, where SKF impact is very significant, right? Just talk about we supply 150 million bearings every year. And if you reduce 1% friction of those 150 million bearings, it's a huge amount of CO2 and efficiency improvements. So that is the kind of impact we are making to the planet, right? And again, the last one is the recycled. So all our products can be recycled safely without having any impact to the mother earth. So that's also an important element which all need to be understand. Much bigger than the just on the remanufacturing piece. It's a much bigger piece where SKF is impacted.
Want to add anything?
No, I think everything is set. This is also valid for the global scope. It is important if we talk about remanufacturing that the core value, so what needs to be reman, has a certain threshold. Otherwise, the reverse logistic and the footprint which comes with carbon is too high that it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Therefore, bigger bearings, this makes totally sense. But for our applications, the core value is simply too small. Yeah.